Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be here.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining me today. Glad you're here. And I hope that you've had a lovely week, and I hope that your weekend is good too. Today is supposed to be, if you're in the Bay, supposed to be very hot. So I think starting off cool, but definitely warming up as we go into the day. So just be prepared for that. Maybe a nicer t-shirt down there as you have that jacket, just because I think that layer may need to come off later on. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Absolutely appreciate you. And I hope that, you've had a great week. I hope you're looking forward to the weekend. I hope you have something good planned. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. And had to switch a little bit today. I was going to bring Killer Underwear Invasion today, but instead we'll do this one on Monday. And today we bring back, just because of the theme that we'll be having next week, that one fits better into that theme. So today we will read The Red Tin Box, and this one coming back to Storytime for the third time, and it is written by Matthew Burgess, illustrations by Evan Turk, and of course you guessed it, read with permission of the publishers Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Thank you so much for joining us today. Absolutely glad we're here together, and what a week it's been. Thank you to all of you that have tuned in. Thank you to everybody that sent us a message. We appreciate you, and indeed looking into those recommendations, and of course too hoping to continue bringing in other books that we have lined up for you, coming in from Chronicle Books, from Candleweek, and other publishers that have shared their books with us here on Storytime. Thank you indeed for being here. I hope that you are well. I hope that you and your loved ones are doing well indeed. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. The Red Tin Box coming up, and like I said before, every time I want to say the Red Tin Can, no, the Red Tin Box. This one coming to us from Chronicle Books of San Francisco, written by Matthew Burgess and illustrations by Evan Turk. A sweet story. Cannot wait for you to see this one. If it's your first time seeing it, well, you know you're in for a treat. And if you're coming back to this one, we're bringing back this one to you. I hope that you enjoy it again. And I think you know already what's coming up. Beautiful story, sweet story. And cannot wait to share this one. Maybe some Kleenex nearby may be handy. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Let us see who is with us this morning, ready to enjoy a wonderful story. Good morning to you. How are you doing today? Sunny out there in Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining in. Megan, how are you doing today? Absolutely appreciate you. And you say we'll be joining in later tonight. Pizza Friday. Oh, that sounds so lovely. Thank you for making Storytime a part of that. And of course, Ari, sending you the biggest of hugs. I hope that school has been going well. I hope the summer is going well. Yes, we're out. I know you were doing camp. I hope that has been going well too. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Good to see you. And everybody else that is here, thank you for joining in. And if you're joining us later on for the recordings, well, thank you for choosing Storytime Time, and we hope to see you again next week and the weeks after that for more story time. Get ready, get comfortable, get cozy. Our story today, The Red Tin Box. Matthew Burgess, Evan TURK, and of course, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. A big thank you to them indeed for all the amazing books that they've allowed us to share here on Storytime. Get ready, get comfortable, get cozy for this Friday special, The Red Tin Box, coming up after this break. Thank you for being here.
I'm Meenal Patel, and I am an artist, designer, and the author and illustrator of Priya Dreams of Marigolds and Masala, and you are watching Storytime with Mr. Limata.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Thank you. And if you have not checked out Priya Dreams of Marigolds and Masala, please do. Another one that is just sweet. And yeah, maybe a little Kleenex with it. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. And Meenal Patel, hoping that you are well out there in Minnesota, a friend of Storytime indeed. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And yeah, The Red Tin Box. This one coming right up. Get ready. And this is one too that has, as Pamela Courtney will say, Andy's The Red Tin Box. That's the cover that we have, but also we have beautiful well, that's the sleeve, and we do have a beautiful cover as well. Yeah, The Red Tin Box. Which one's your favorite? Do you like both? Yeah, The Red Tin Box is our book for today. Yeah, just one of those I love so much. You know, there are certain books you read them once and it's like, oh yes, I like that one. Others tend to, you know, they're a slow burn sort of. The Red Tin Box. Yeah. The Red Tin Box, written by Matthew Burgess, illustrations by Evan TURK. And we're reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. On her 8th birthday, when the sun was peeking over the treetops and everyone in the house was still asleep, Maude slipped outside and across the wet grass to the edge of the woods. Where are you going, Maude? Yeah, so early. On her 8th birthday, when the sun was peeking over the treetops and everyone in the house was still asleep, Maude slipped outside and across the wet grass to the edge of the woods. What was there? At the foot of the flowering dogwood, in a soft spot where she once found a fallen nest, the earth seemed to whisper, "Here, here." Yeah. At the foot of the flowering dogwood, in a soft spot where she once found a fallen nest, the earth seemed to whisper, "Here, here." Maude dug and dug and dug until the hole was deep enough to hold a red tin box. Only Maude knew the treasures she placed inside the box. Only Maude heard the words she said as she buried it. What's in there? Far overhead, the sun kissed the clouds pink. An anger of geese honked excitedly. Yeah. Only Maude knew the contents of that tin box, and only Maude heard what she said when she buried it. Far overhead, the sun kissed the clouds pink. An anger of geese honked excitedly. Did they know what was in there? Did they hear what Maude said? And Maude made a promise to herself. Yeah, I want to know too. And Maude made a promise to herself. Good morning, smiley child. How are you doing today? Thank you indeed. And Maude made a promise to herself. Maude grew and grew and grew as all children do. Wow. Maude grew and grew and grew as old children do. Yeah. She had a daughter of her own, and she grew too. Oh, yeah. Maude grew and grew and grew. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Absolutely appreciate it. Enjoy. She had a daughter of her own and grew too. Yeah. But Maude never forgot the red tin box. In one corner of her mind, it glowed, though one by one, the treasures she had placed inside slipped from her memory. What did you put in there? What was in there? And this illustration is just beautiful. Yeah. But Maude grew and grew, but never forgot the red tin box. In one corner of her mind, it glowed, though one by one, the treasures she had placed inside slipped from her memory. One November afternoon, Maude was seized with a feeling like a bright spring sunrise. Aw. Yeah. One November afternoon, Maude was seized with a feeling like a bright spring sunrise. Aw. Have you had that feeling before? The next day, Maude picked up her granddaughter after school. Hi. Yeah. Together, they turned east. As they drove and drove and drove 4 towns over. Where are you going? Yeah. Together, they turned east. As they drove and drove and drove 4 towns over. Across the river she swam in as a girl, past the road to the old schoolhouse. Oh. Maude told Eve about the red tin box, about the hole she dug beneath the dogwood, about the promise she made when she was 8 years old. Oh. But what's inside the box? How do you know it's still there? These were questions Maude couldn't answer. They sat quietly side by side in worry and in wonder. It was possible they wouldn't find it. So many years had passed. Do you think they'll find it? I hope so. Fingers crossed, right? Yeah. But what's inside the box? Eve asked. How do you know it's still there? These were questions Maude couldn't answer. They sat quietly side by side in worry and in wonder. It was possible they wouldn't find it. So many years had passed. But there was the dogwood. Well, this is one thing. There was the dogwood Maude daydreamed under as a girl. Read books under, fell asleep in the grass under. It was still there. Oh. Things are looking good. Holding her granddaughter's hand, Maude walked the perimeter of the tree until one spot seemed to whisper, "Here, here." Oh, was this the spot? They took turns nudging the shovels into the cold ground. Digging was hard, but with each small scoop, the dirt became a little bit softer until suddenly, did they find it? Had they found it? Oh my goodness. Ah, the ring of a metallic clink. Had they found it? What do their faces tell us? Ah. Eve watched as her grandmother lifted the treasures out, examining them one by one. A tiny toy elephant, a marble like a tiger's eye, an ancient piece of candy wrapped in a silver foil, a costume mustache, a small brown bottle, a bird's nest woven with purple string, and an iridescent ear-shaped shell. Whoa. What would you put in your time capsule? Have you put away any time capsules of your own? Oh, now we know what was inside. Eve watched as her grandmother lifted the treasures out, examining them one by one. A tiny toy elephant, a marble like a tiger's eye, an ancient piece of candy wrapped in a silver foil, a costume mustache, a small brown bottle, a bird's nest woven with purple string, and an iridescent ear-shaped shell. Wow. Which of those would you want to have? And there they are. Maybe there's an idea for you for this summer. Once Maude let out such a high-pitched that a dog in the distance began barking. Ruff, 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 ruff. Who's there? Once Maude let out such a high-pitched relief, right? That a dog in the distance began barking. Ruff, 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 ruff. Simmer down now, simmer down. Ah. Mm. And Maude told many stories on the drive home. Sometimes Eve asked questions. Sometimes she laughed when her grandmother laughed. And it didn't bother her when her grandmother cried. Aw, yeah. Maude told stories on the drive home. Sometimes Eve asked questions. Sometimes she laughed when her grandmother laughed. And it didn't bother her at all when her grandmother cried. Yeah. It didn't bother her, not one bit. Yeah. Aw. When they arrived, Maude placed the red tin box into her granddaughter's hands. This is for you. Aw. This is for you. Wow. Far overhead, the stars blinked. An anger of geese honked in the dusky dark. And Eve, seized with a feeling, made a promise to herself. Yeah. Has this become a tradition? Ah. Such beautiful illustrations. And that is the end of our story. Thank you so much for joining in today. That was The Red Tin Box, a beautiful story indeed by Matthew Burgess and Evan Turk. And of course, we were reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. I'll see you on the other side of this very short break.
This is Anika Moroz-Reese, author of The Teacher's Pet, Watch Out for Wolf, Love Sophia on the Moon, the Anna Banana chapter book series, and Hide and Don't Seek and other very scary stories. And you are watching Storytime with Mr. Limata.
Yes, indeed. This is story time, and this has been story time for this week. This has been story time on this Friday morning. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Absolutely appreciate you. Coming to you live from Oakland, California. Thank you indeed for being here. Killer Underwear Invasion will be our story next Monday. I promise it's going to be coming, and watch out for a beautiful theme of books that we'll be bringing next week. But today we were reading The Red Tin Box. This one coming to us from Matthew Burgess and of course Evan Turk. And to enjoy the illustrations even more and in person, I hope that you can find it at your local library or indeed wherever else that you find books. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us on Storytime. Highly appreciated. And yes, thank you for being a part of this wonderful community and indeed a place where we look to create a very welcoming space for all. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. A beautiful story, and I hope that indeed it starts off your Friday well. And if it's much later in your day, I hope that it was just the needed dose of joy and indeed sweetness that that you were looking to and helps you, spurs you on into the rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Absolutely appreciate you. The Red Tin Box. And yeah, just thinking too, what would you put in your own time capsules, and what are some family traditions that you have and that you may be thinking about? And hopefully too that as Maude and Eve are thinking and going through all the memories, telling the stories, I hope that you are able to share your own stories with the younger generations and of course with the older generations in your family as well, asking questions and being able to share or to hear all that they were able to do. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. Share those stories. Share those stories. So important. There's so many times that I sat with my grandma, my mom, uncles and other relatives as well, and just sharing memories. And those still sit with me today, even as a grown adult. Thank you so much for joining us here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. I hope that you have a wonderful day, you and your loved ones. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. If you're out here in the Bay, it promises to be hot. So please be ready for that. Get your water bottle, sunscreen, everything else that you need. Please take care of yourself as you go out there. And if you're working with kids, please remind them maybe to put on a hat so they're not getting sunburn out there, and they're not getting all those, the strong sun is not getting to them. And of course, remind them to get in the shade as well. And of course, to drink that water and have a snack as well. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Whether you're having Pizza Friday or whatever you're doing on this beautiful Friday, I hope that it is good. I hope that it is exactly what you need. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Storytime. One more time, thank you to everybody that is joining in live or indeed joining us for the recording. Megan and Ari out there in Kentucky, thank you for being here. I hope that you have a lovely time listening to the story later on, and of course enjoying your pizza with it. And then of course, Smiley Child, thank you so much for joining in here on Storytime. And appreciate you. And of course, thank you for tapping into Storytime, and also we feel your energy. Thank you so much for being here. Biggest of hugs to each and every one of you, and we hope to see you again when we're back with more Storytime next week, Monday. Much love. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Read me all of the stories. Read me all of the stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of the stories. Read me all of the stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh. Story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing